After over 25 years of marriage, we've learned that successful couples have great friendships, put each other first, and focus on light just as much as love. We believe marriage should be fun and easy.
Our goal is to share our journey with the hopes of helping others build strong, happy relationships. Join us as we continue to create our lives beyond I do.
Do you and your partner want to learn simple ways to grow closer?
Do you and your partner want to grow happier together?
Do you and your partner want to be a unified front?
Do you and your partner want to divorce-proof your marriage?
If you answer yes to these questions, you need to check out our book, Unlock It Forever, 10 Keys to a Successful Marriage Beyond I Do.
Each section focuses on a different aspect of marriage and briefly describes how we handled it in our relationship. At the end of the section, you're given an action step or key to complete with your partner.
These keys are practical steps you can immediately implement in your relationship and help you and your partner be proactive and intentional about your relationship.
You can purchase your copy on Amazon.com.
And until next time, we will holler at y'all. We are not marriage counselors, nor are we mental health professionals. We're just simply sharing y'all how we navigated through our marriage. Now, on with the show.
All right, true or false?
Okay.
In the U.S., about 50% of marriages end in divorce.
50% of marriages. That sounds about like what they say.
Okay. According to divorcewriter.com, this is actually a myth.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Okay.
The divorce rate in the United States has not ever been 50%. This percentage comes from a study that was done in the 70s. And when no-fault divorce became a thing, it projected that the future divorce rate would be 50%.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. That's where that comes from.
Yes.
I always wondered that, like 50%, but as we've navigated most people together, I mean, in our little area at least. Not surrounding. We've seen some people break up. All right, so in 2011, the actual divorce rate, excluding California, Georgia, Indiana, Louisiana, and Minnesota, was around 42%. So you didn't even get Georgia in.
That was in 2011, so we know that's been a long time. And it has gotten closer to 50%, but those particular states don't report divorce rate. That's why it says
that's why. Okay, gotcha.
They don't report it. So
okay.
All right. So the information that we're sharing with y'all today comes primarily from a Forbes.com article. And the article is based on a survey where they surveyed 1,000 Americans who had divorced or they were in the process of divorce. So for, like we said in our year-end wrap-up, New Year preview, we have different themes throughout the year. And the first one is how to divorce-proof your marriage. And so we figured we'd start with divorce and see how to work our way backwards to prevent that. So this article, like I said, is based on a survey of about 1,000 people who are divorced or in the process.
In order for us to understand the causes of divorces, it's important to first look at the reasons these couples indicated they got married. So, the biggest factors for these couples getting married, number one, at 42% was financial security. All right.
And it's important to know that in the article it said that this reason was higher for women than men, of course.
Right.
And that's there was a old saying, and I say old, I've seen it on TV, where they talk about women going to college to get their MRS degrees.
Yeah.
But so the highest percentage between the men and women who were surveyed said financial security, but the total percentage was 42%.
Total, okay, all right. And next you had at 39% companionship. You know, that's self-explanatory. People want companionship. And 36% stated love.
Which to me, when I look at this and I think about marriage and what I've always thought marriage to be,
it was about love. Yeah,
it was about love. It was about commitment and relationship. Yep. So that shocked me to see love at third place.
Yeah, that really did. I mean, you would think love would be top, then everything else kind of fall in place. Right. But, you know, I guess we got to meet people where they're at. All right, formal act of making a commitment and to start a family was that even at 34%. So, you know, starting a family, formal act of commitment. Yeah, I guess I can see that.
I guess to start especially as people get older, and have the desire to have children.
So that started getting in those 30s, and you know that's when you go to the family functions. All right, child, you're 30. What you gonna do? The baby's getting old.
Deal with that because I probably would have hurt some feelings.
Yeah, you probably told folks, "Hey, man, you worried about?
Please stay out of my
wife uterus, man."
Exactly.
But convenience at 28%. That was kind of. What could convenience be? Well,
I don't know.
Maybe, you know.
We ain't getting no younger. We might as well do this. I don't know.
Okay, maybe if they were like friends, it was like, look, you know, if you ain't found nobody,
did the pact
and
thing,
if you ain't found nobody, and you know, by the time you're 35, you know, let's go ahead and do this thing. And the last three were medical insurance, legal reasons, and societal and familial pressures. Now, I was surprised that was the lowest one.
The societal, because, but you know,
that's probably changed now.
I think that
I'm sure it's up. You know what I mean?
You think, because I see the trend of marriage not being as important.
Well, that's true. That's true.
It makes sense in that realm.
Well, I think it's like more of a topic of discussion now with social media because you got the 50-50 discussions. You have all of the professionals like ourselves, you know, influencers who are giving their expert advice to the world.
Why you laugh when you say?
I mean, I'm just,
we are published authors and whatnot.
Can't be the pot calling the kettle black.
And that was part of starting this is to have a positive viewpoint.
Have a balance,
But there's some posts that I've seen here recently where people are saying, you know, you can't just look to social media for examples, and you can't think about just what you see on social media.
Right.
You need to have people in real life to look to, and sometimes that's a difficult thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like if you don't have those types of models to see in front of you, of course you're going to look to social media and TV.
I think the foundation of our podcast is, you know, there's a lot of advice for what to do while you're in the hole. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to share how do you not get in the hole in the first place.
Right.
And I think it's just the avenues that people choose to, you know, celebrate or focus on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, you know, there's so much, you know, focus on, you know, what to do when you're in the hole. Either you get out the hole by yourself or y'all come out together. It's like, we get inundated with a lot of that. But, you know, the thing is, you know, how do you prevent getting in the hole in the first place? So,
right.
That's what we're here for anyway. At least that's what I think.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll concur. All right. So the biggest factors for getting a divorce among these surveyed people, 43% was lack of family support. And that still throws me.
Yeah, that throws me off.
I've said it before, when it comes to you and I, that's what's important to me.
Right.
And if anyone or anything comes between that, then I don't have a problem cutting people out.
Well, if you think of someone who is like raised in a tight-knit family, they're so close, and then if they have that bond, and some of those people tend to put family in front of everything. You see those shirts that people wear, family over everything, or blood thicker than water, and they don't know how to translate that into when they get into a relationship, how to differentiate what's important.
I saw a post the other day about, once you get married, do you consider your family of origin your family, or do you consider your spouse your immediate family, or your family? And it blew my mind that this is in a marriage group and people were saying their family of origin.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, well, you're already setting yourself up to fail.
Right, exactly.
So at 34% was infidelity or extramarital affairs. Lack of compatibility, lack of intimacy, and too much conflict or arguing were all at 31%. And about halfway down the list was financial stress
yes.
at only 24%. So those things, I mean, those are common reasons.
Those are common factors.
Financial stress was further down than most people would think.
Yeah. Now, what surprised me was the parenting differences. Not that surprised me, but it wasn't like higher up. You know what I mean?
Right. I see what you're saying.
Marrying too young. I mean,
And that's a tough one.
I think they need to add, which I mean, this is their survey, the time in between meeting and marriage, because I think that's what we're dealing with in today's times. People are so quick to rush into getting into marriage, and they don't take the time to learn each other.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Going back to the reasons for getting married and wanting to start a family.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you feel like your time is running low, then you would move quicker.
Yep, that's true. All right, so the top 13 signs that a marriage is at risk of divorce. If you are currently married, it is important to monitor your marriage for signs that there may be trouble. Okay, so I'm going to give you all of these because I think this is important to pay attention to, because some of these struck me, but some of these are actually rated different than I would think personally. So, that's what this is about. So, number one was a lack of showing interest in one another at 48%. So, that was, I would have thought, I don't know. I don't know what I would have thought. But anyway.
That we talk about the importance of friendship and liking your partner.
Yeah.
And so showing lack of interest in one another is a direct reflection.
Lack of interest in is, I don't care about what you got going on.
Right.
Don't bother me with.
Not concerned how your day was.
I don't give a dang. Just go bathe the kids. All right. Poor conflict resolution. That's not knowing how to, and a lot of people get into that when they're arguing or having a discussion. I like to use the term strong discussion or firm discussion.
If there's conflict,
listening to respond and not listening to your partner.
To actually take in what they're saying.
What they're saying. Yes.
You're trying to. You get to a point where you want to be right.
Yeah, you want to be right.
And when you focus on being right, you could say some harmful, hurtful things.
Oh yeah, because you're listening to I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. And avoiding each other, that's not healthy at all. And that could include avoiding the issues, avoiding the a discussion. Well, yeah, we talked about this for a little bit, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Let's not deal with this right now. And how much further you gonna kick the can down the road? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like that term.
Yeah, you do.
No, I like that.
You and your can.
All right. Lack of respect, of course. 38%. Increased criticism to or from my partner at 38%. Now, criticizing, talking about them or talking about their family in a negative light, any type of criticism, you just like your daddy. Your daddy ran around in the streets, and you gonna run around the street. I hope you don't run around the streets like your daddy. But just poor criticism, poor communication, not talking to each other, substance abuse, domestic violence, disapproval of spouse from family or friends. There it is. Mm-hmm. Family not liking your spouse. Living different lifestyles. Now, that's different.
Well, I mean, you have people who get married and, let's say the woman goes out once a week to the clubs with her friends.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then once she's married, she doesn't want to stop.
He's a homebody,
right?
Yeah,
or he goes out with guys,
vice versa. Okay.
And not willing to compromise. Or
yeah. Married too young again.
There's yours.
Married too soon after meeting each other. Yep, there we go. And financial stress.
And
at 10%.
Those are, I'd say, about a third to one half of those. Mm-hmm. If you like the person you're with, you've already avoided those. Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. So some of that stuff I'm looking like, and I guess because everybody always tend to think of things from their perspective. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to say, well, I wouldn't have a problem with this because of this. Or I wouldn't have a problem with this. But we got to keep in mind that people are raised differently. People are brought up, different parts of the world. So there's a lot of, like, what's a 10 to you may be a 4 to that person and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
it takes a lot of communication, not just talking, but also listening. Yep. And it takes compromise too. Yeah, compromise. I know one thing that you stress is it's two individuals coming together as one. Mm. And if that's the goal, if that's what you want, then you're gonna have to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give some of yourself. Right. There's no two people coming together and each of them not chipping away at something that was them before the relationship.
Right. Now, and that's not
chipping
a bad
away
thing.
means not necessarily getting rid of, but cutting back.
Right.
If you desire to go out a lot and go hang with people and all this stuff and be in the social scene, well, maybe the social scene may not be good for your partner, so maybe you cut back on those things. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do it all the time like you did when you were single, but dial back on it a little bit. That's giving of yourself.
So the most common types of conflict among these couples or among these individuals who were surveyed, one of the top ones that stuck out, or the top one stuck out to me, and that was career choices. And at first, that was an odd one for me. But there again, if I think about another conversation we've had, oftentimes there's a financial target that women look for in men. Yeah. And if you're looking for this man who makes a certain amount of money, you have to understand that the work that goes into making that money may not fit with the other aspects of the relationship. Right, exactly. So if you were with someone who's a workaholic, so to speak, or has a job that, they're on call. And so I know a lot of people in the medical profession, if they're on call, you may be in the middle of having dinner and have to stop and go. So with some thought, I realized, okay, career choices, I can see where that can be an issue.
Yeah. Or changing careers, like, excuse me, when someone gets into a situation where they decide to change in careers, or hey, they get laid off or fired from a job or whatever, and they go into a totally different realm, and it's not bringing in the money that they made before. That could cause a lot of issues too.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Parenting differences. And I think that goes back to what you said. You have to take into consideration people being raised in different environments, and they're coming together. But that's why it's so important to come together as a couple and decide what you feel. Take what was good from your background, leave what was not, look for some other things. But parenting differences and division of household labor, both of those were at 43%.
Yeah.
We have always stressed that we're a team. And so there are some things, some household chores that you take care of for the most part, and I take care of others for the most part. But that doesn't mean that there's never a time that you do laundry. That doesn't mean that there's never a time that I take garbage out. So just making sure that everything you do contributes to the well-being of the household.
Right, exactly.
Other conflicts: relationship with family, relationship with friends, finances, and then health choices. That one it's only 9%, but I can see where that's an issue, because some men are stubborn when it comes to doctors and taking care of themselves.
Don't want to go to the doctor, and knowing you have issues, and waiting to the last minute to go to the doctor, or about bent over before you go.
Even with when it comes to sexual health.
Yeah.
And as we get older and our bodies change,
I've seen a lot of stuff recently online where people are, complain, or wives are complaining about their husbands, not being able to function in the bedroom, and they have all these health issues, and people are bringing up, well, you might have ED, maybe you need to go to the doctor. And in my mind, it's like, okay, well, even though when I dealt with that issue on a personal level, I was scared to talk to my doctor, but I did talk to him about it, And sometimes it's just a temporary issue, you know what I mean? It's not it's a permanent thing. Sometimes it's just temporary. Sometimes it's just a change in diet or change in the way you do things. And people don't, a lot of men don't understand that. So, they get scared to go talk to the doctor about some of the simplest things. And then, hey, you go a year or two without satisfying your partner, then what do you want them to do?
A year or two?
Well, that's what I've seen online.
Oh.
I'm just saying What divorcees believe could have saved their marriage. Only about 5% of those surveyed say they don't believe their marriage could have been saved. That's 5%.
That is both encouraging and sad.
Yes.
It's encouraging because that means that majority of them had some type of intervention. They could have perhaps saved their marriage.
So once it's over, it's like, well, maybe I could have done this.
Right. And that's the sad part, is that for the majority of them, they feel like, well, maybe if this had happened. So hopefully as we sprinkle a little positive marriage hoodoo into the atmospheres, maybe we can help some of those 95%.
And just hang in there. And you know what it is, I think with a lot of times it's pride and stubbornness. Pride and stubbornness can kill a relationship.
Remember that tweet from a while back when Steph Curry's parents announced from what we hear, it's rough out there.
Yeah,
so.
they pegging out there, dog. That's funny.
It's rough. So
it's rough out there.
if you're in that 95% where you can save it, where you can salvage some stuff, you might want to think about at least trying to put in a little work.
I bet you Dale Curry probably out there now, like, man.
Well, somebody.
This ain't it right here, bro.
Somebody said that. I want to say both of them have remarried at this point, but I don't know. I just that every now and then I look up that tweet thread. And read it because it is hilarious to me, and it's so true. But anywho.
All right, so what divorcees believe could have saved their marriage. 63%, the top one, said a better understanding of commitment for marriage prior to marrying.
Guess what?
What's that?
We wrote a book about that.
Yep, we sure did. And what is it called?
Unlocking Forever. 10 Keys to a Successful Marriage Beyond I Do.
Right there.
All right.
Bam. All right. So number 2 was a better understanding of the values and morals of my partner prior to marrying them. Waiting longer to start a family.
That's a big one.
We've seen that firsthand.
That's a big one.
Through people we know. But those top 2 right there, that speaks to taking the time and having those real discussions, about everything. Like, how important is your religion to you? How important is parenting to you? Just having those conversations, which we didn't do, but we had similar understanding of each other.
We also had over 5 years of friendship
to know each other,
and so we were comfortable with each other. So when it came to conflict, when it came to disagreements, we kind of had an advantage because there was a friendship there was a relationship there. We've had to work through a lot of those things as we had to build the plane as we were flying it. So hopefully,
but we had a foundation, and a lot of people don't have that.
Right.
Excuse me. A lot of people don't have that foundation. So
and I think that's the purpose of the book, the purpose of the podcast, the purpose of mentoring, and all those things is to help people see the importance of having that foundation. And it might not be that you have 5 years to be friends first.
Yeah.
So if you're already married and it's new, or if you're about to get married, these are just some ways to kind of fast track that. Some things you need to think about.
Think about it and discuss these things.
Absolutely.
So seeking professional help from a therapist or couples counselor, that was 42%. Now, I don't, I've heard a lot of pastors or ministers say before, use the term, well, if you want to, Dr. Fielding said it one time, if you want to get out of this marriage, you got to earn your way out.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So earning your way out is, we go through all these steps and do the work. So if you're having issues, I think therapy is the best start.
It's especially if there's not a safety issue.
If
there's not abuse involved. So we're not talking, extreme situations.
Right.
We're talking, you've grown apart. It seems like there's always conflict. It seems like you have to walk on eggshells around. We're talking about those things. We're not talking about if there's violence or if there's emotional abuse or financial abuse. We're not talking about those things. Or it also is important for us to say that we don't believe in staying in a marriage where neither partner wants to be.
Yeah, that's true too.
We don't believe in promoting unhappiness just to say you're married.
Yeah.
But if you want to work for your marriage, if both parties are willing to put in the work, then that's when I believe you should earn your way out.
Therapy definitely should be number one.
Or coaching.
Yep. There you go. And waiting longer to get married was 40%. And living together prior to being married, 29%.
That
right
I think
there
is important too.
Yeah, I know. And like we're from the Bible Belt. We live in the Bible Belt, and that was one of the things. They told us, no premarital sex, no living in sin, no shacking up, as old folks use that term. But, let's look at the reality of that now. And there's some couples that could, not have lived together, move in together, and they can work those things out. But it's those little things that, what's your cleaning style? Are you messy? Are you junky? Are you,
Right. You
things
have to
like
understand that your idea of clean and your partner's idea of clean may be different. And then you have to decide how are you going to meet in the middle with those differences.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with just saying, I don't know. Like, if you come up in the household and your parents didn't make you clean or they didn't make you do anything or y'all had a maid or cleaning service or whatever, then, it might be time for you guys to sit down and say, okay, well, let's put some money to the side. Let's get somebody clean, or we go take some cleaning classes. We can do something, to just not argue about those simple things. Because expecting someone to have the same upbringing as you is not fair to them.
Right. Or expecting someone to fulfill a need when you haven't voiced that need.
And guys, your wife is not your mama. I just got to say this.
Yes.
Your wife is not your mama. Do not put that kind of pressure on her. All right? So, and then, of course, 5% said ain't a damn thing could have saved their marriage. Nothing. So, I mean,
And I respect that
yeah,
also.
I respect that too. Yep.
So, this sounds like common sense, but there was a line in this article, and I'm going to read the quote exactly as it was stated, because it stuck out to both of us. When a person is motivated to marry by a specific desire that goes unfulfilled, this increases the chances the union will fail. So basically, if you're getting married for financial stability and that doesn't happen, then of course, chances are you're not going to stay married.
Yeah.
So there again, it's very important in the beginning to even think about why you're getting married, what it is that you want and desire from that relationship, from that partner. And that in and of itself, just thinking of those things in the beginning will help you start the path to longevity.
Yeah. Yep. In the end, divorce affects the lives of millions of Americans. By better understanding common causes for divorce and common signs of divorce, individuals and couples can make more informed choices within their relationship. The main thing is to be intentional when it comes to your marriage. That is how you both create happiness in your relationship with your partner.
Very good.
I like that.
I like that too. That's your word, intentional.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Beyond I Do podcast.
Please make sure to like this episode and also subscribe to our podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Beyond I Do podcast.
And until next time, we will holler at y'all.